Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
All right, on today's episode, we are discussing the Auburn head coaching search after they, very surprisingly, fired Bryan Harsin. No one saw that one coming. The way we're going to do this is we're going to do a draft. And so the goal, of course, is to pick Auburn's next head coach, who will actually end up being Ryan. You are in the unenviable position of the first pick.
Too tough, man. It's just you're in a losing battle here picking number one. Just seems like a less than 50% chance of anybody, of course. So, man, I got to go with Lane Kiffin though. He seems like the top guy at this point, and for good reason. He's done a great job at Ole Miss, and seems to be getting a lot of buzz. He's kind of downplayed it, at least in talks, but it's kind of what you have to do. I've seen stronger of denials or not interested before, so maybe he's slightly interested. That's just really the question. They'll throw a lot of money at him, probably promise him a lot of stuff, but would he leave? I think there's a chance. I think there's a greater than 10% chance that he would. I think he would strongly consider it.
I agree. At the very least, he's getting a raise from somebody, whether it's going to Auburn and getting a big deal or using it to get more money at Ole Miss. The one thing, well, there's several things that Auburn has going for it ahead of Ole Miss, right? You'd think, Auburn has won championships. They, over the past 10 or 15 years, overall has recruited a lot better than Ole Miss. So there's reasons, of course, for him to want to go there. But one financial reason is that in the state of Mississippi, they can only offer 4-year contracts. So that's a huge advantage for Auburn.
Yeah,
if they can come to him with, one of those Jimbo
6
type
years,
deals,
7 years.
Longer than 4 years. That could be enticing. So we'll see. I agree with you more than 10%, but I would put it less than 50% that he would take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But who knows?
All right. Number 2 here. I'm going to go with Hugh Freeze. I know he comes with a lot of baggage, but if you can kind of overlook that, just primarily focus on his success. I know he just kind of re-upped his deal with Liberty, but the buyout is manageable, at least, for a program like Auburn. He's had success at Ole Miss, of course, previously. Now, the last few years with Liberty, he knows talent. He knows the area somewhat for recruiting. So a lot comes with him, but he's still a good coach.
Just get wins, man. At this point for, Auburn, and if you're at a struggling school that you just want to get wins, who cares who your head coach is as long as he's not.
I don't know. There's some gross things, but they might overlook it. We'll see.
I think they would.
Okay, my pick here. I feel good about this one. Deion Sanders from Jackson State.
Time.
If you can't get Lane Kiffin, to me, he's kind of my second favorite option. It's a home run swing. You would think he'd be able to recruit extremely well at Auburn, go toe-to-toe with Alabama and Georgia for some recruits. He got how am I forgetting the name of the number 1 overall recruit that he got, the corner, Travis Hunter, to Jackson State. So you would think he could get some pretty good talent at Auburn. And it's not just the celebrity hire. It's not just the recruiting. He's at least proven something at Jackson State. The team is good. He's
very good.
He has run a good program there in the short time he's been there. So he's proven a little bit. Yeah. And then next pick, I'm down to 2 guys here, but I'm going to go Jeff Grimes, offensive coordinator at Baylor. He was the offensive line coach at Auburn under Gene Chizik, did a great job. He's kind of bounced around and worked at LSU in the past, so he's got even more SEC experience. Did a great job as BYU's offensive coordinator with Zach Wilson. Moved on to Baylor, who had a really struggling offense under Aranda, and he turned around that side of the ball very quickly. Always seems to have good offensive line play, which Auburn has mightily struggled with. So, I don't know if they'll get down to him in terms of on Auburn's list, but if they do, I'm very confident that Grimes would say yes.
Sure. All right, circling back to me, I'm going to go... Sure, I'll do it. I'm going to go Matt Rhule. He's obviously currently sought after by a lot of programs that have open positions. Now, he can be somewhat selective, just given the fact that he had that large buyout from the Panthers, and he could just kind of sit back for a year and kind of weigh the options and say, I want something even better or something more for his fit. So he can afford that. But if he did choose Auburn, it would be a good sign of how he thinks he could have success there. We saw what he did, how well he did with Little at Baylor previously, and then before that at Temple. So he would be a good hire for anyone.
Yeah, I could get behind that if I was Auburn. Little question marks, maybe. You're not a little concerned about his NFL stint, but I can see it.
Yeah, to me, it's not even the NFL stint. I would more just want confirmation that he is interested in recruiting at the highest level, because that's sort of been a rumor about him, is maybe he doesn't like recruiting. Maybe that's not. I don't know if that's true, but I would want to make sure if I was Auburn's new AD. Yeah. You need a guy. This next head coach, you can't have any Bryan Harsin, aspect there. He's got to be like, no, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to try to go toe to toe with, the other power SEC schools for recruits.
Yep. All right, I got two here. I'll start us off with Jeff Grimes' head coach, Dave Aranda, at Baylor. He won a Big 12 title at Baylor. That's a pretty big accomplishment to say that. So I think that gives him an opportunity. He was a defensive coordinator at LSU, so he's familiar with the SEC. Proven head coach. I think that I could get behind that if I was Auburn fans. The other one, I'll go. Man, I almost I was thinking about this another Big 12 guy, and I don't know. Talked about it before, and Michael almost changed my mind, but I'm gonna stick with it. I'm saying Matt Campbell at Iowa State.
Yeah.
It's just if this was 2 years ago, I think maybe more folks would get behind it, because I think his name's kind of lost a little luster, especially this past year with they're struggling a little bit on the field right now. Offensively, they aren't doing that great. Still got a good defense, but I think they've had some bad luck. They're still a competitive team, and if you just look at his tenure, he's done a fantastic job at Iowa State. I mean, they are way, 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 way better than they've ever been. And I don't think they're done. I think even if he stays at Iowa State, I think they'll bounce back a little bit next year. They just lost a lot. So I'm sure Auburn fans wouldn't be too super pleased, but
they would be. I think they'd be apoplectic. I think.
Whoa.
I do. I think that sounds to me exactly like a Bryan Harsin type hire. I mean, I like Campbell better than Harsin, but Campbell is a guy who does not seem like he's going to go in there and hit the recruiting trail super hard, and with the likes of Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, and I don't know. I think you immediately, the boosters, I doubt would be behind it. I think that could be a disaster hire. I try
to kind of do a coup right away, like they did with Harsin.
I think so. I think there would be. Yeah, it might be a Tennessee situation with Greg Schiano, where they would just go protest and prevent it. But I know we're getting low on the list, so we got to say somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and you don't know. You never know what the AD is going to do. I mean, Bryan Harsin was a big surprise. That came out of nowhere. Maybe that happens. Something like that happens.
Mike
again.
Riley. Always got to reference that when you're like, what the heck? Mike Riley?
Yeah, true.
There's a couple guys that I might be more likely to be picked, but I want to just kind of get a little crazy with my last one. I'm going to go Dan Mullen. If you've listened to our podcast, I've been somewhat kind of loyal to him. I understand it's a long shot, but the new athletic director is from Mississippi State. They crossed paths while they were there. He had success at Mississippi State. Remember with Dak Prescott, they got to number 1 very briefly. He started his Florida run very well. Remember, he took Felipe Franks to a New Year's Six Bowl. They went to actually 3 New Year's Six Bowls in a row in his tenure there. They had that team with Kyle Trask that nearly beat Alabama in the SEC title. That Bama team, of course, won the national title. They had multiple top 10 finishes. He's a proven successful coach in the SEC at 2 different schools. I don't see why he won't be at least looked at by somebody. I understand maybe not Auburn, but I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah, I would definitely be shocked. I think Auburn fans just turned off this video. I'm sure they would hate it. But again, I guess we got to say somebody here. But And the other thing is he got fired for not recruiting well enough. I think that is kind of that was part of the reason at least. So,
and they were tanking pretty hard on the
yeah,
field.
they also, yeah, exactly. All right, I've got a guy who I think is, I think it's a steal this late in the draft. Mark Stoops at Kentucky. I was considering him between him and Jeff Grimes in my earlier pick, because everyone talks about what a great gig he has at Kentucky. He's got reasonable expectations. If he wins, I think 7 games a year, he gets like another year added on to his contract, something like that. So, but I think, so people say, oh, it's the best job in college football. I don't think most coaches look at it like that. Like they want to go, especially Mark Stoops. He's not getting any younger. I'm sure he wants to go somewhere where he can win a championship. He can compete at the highest level. There's a little bit of a ceiling, at least, historically at Kentucky. So Auburn, I think he would jump at it, and I don't think he would be that far down the list for Auburn themselves. I'm sure
I agree.
Lane Kiffin and maybe 1 or 2 other guys ahead of him, but maybe not. Maybe he would be their second choice. I don't know.
It'd be a fine hire, no doubt about it. He's done a great job at Kentucky. You just noted, they've been a doormat forever, and then he's got them competitive every single year.
And he's even picked up the recruiting lately. So you think with Auburn's resources, maybe he could compete there. But all right, that's the end of the draft here. But was anybody on your list that didn't get drafted that you were considering?
Got to go with Urban Meyer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You got to throw his name out, man. Every time there's an opening that's at a, Power 5 school, Urban.
Yeah, there's 2 guys. There's a ton of guys, but 2 guys I'll bring up. Kenny Dillingham, he's currently Oregon's offensive coordinator. I know he's very young, but he was the offensive coordinator under Malzahn during their last good teams at Auburn. Has Bo Nix playing very well. And then just a guy that a lot of Auburn fans wanted a couple years ago, Kevin Steele. He's currently the Miami defense coordinator. Big long shot, but he's in Auburn.
Yeah. I think some Auburn
past.
boosters wanted him. I don't know about the fans, but yeah. I've got on my list Jamie Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. Mm-hmm. I don't think a guy without Power 5 experience, even as an assistant, is someone that they would want. But maybe I like
his offensive style.
I like
would
Chadwell.
Be fun
I like the
Auburn.
offense he runs. Yeah. Todd Monken.
How come? Yeah. So we never. It seems Luke Fickell. Now he's kind of just like, oh no, he's just Cincinnati.
No.
Why not?
That's actually the great person to bring up. Yeah, I would definitely go after him if I were Auburn.
Right?
I don't know. Fickell seems to, everyone seems to think he wants to stay Midwest and Big Ten kind of country.
Right. I know. When's he gonna go? When and where? It's just like.
Auburn. I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah.
Mike Gundy seems like a potential option.
Oh.
He seems to always be trying to get out of Oklahoma State for a better gig, and it hasn't worked out. And
does he?
Maybe he's just been trying to get raises. Yeah, maybe that's the case. But I don't know.
20 years, I think he had a chance at some point.
Maybe so, but I don't know. It seems like the last few years, especially, seems like his agent has. There's just been a lot of rumors of him behind the scenes trying to get the job. Like, wasn't he trying to get Florida, or I don't even know. But anyway, I had to throw him out there. How crazy would Dan Lanning be for if Oregon just lost another head coach to the Southeast? I don't know. Something to consider.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, let us know in the comments any guys we left off the list, and who do you think Auburn will or should hire? We'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you're an Auburn fan. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast if you like college football. We have a YouTube channel here, but we also have an audio podcast with different content there, so you can check that out, and we will see you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.